So I was driving Calvin and Billy back from my parents' house the other day, both of them. And Billy just does this thing now where he just throws up in the car. And he's done it maybe 3 times where we're just driving and out of nowhere, he'll just go, block. And it'll silently just, biak, biak. And I don't know it's happening until, oh my God, it smells like someone's burning plastic in an anus. You know? And so I go, oh, and then I hear Calvin go, oh, and Calvin's like bad with that stuff, the bodily fluids. He's just like, ugh, right? So I'm like, Calvin, it's okay. And then we're halfway home, but it's like, I got to get home before Calvin now throws up. And so we're on the way home and Calvin just realizes, hey, do you think Billy's going to throw up? And I was like, what? No. And he's like, but I'm scared that he's gonna throw up, and I'm like, oh, buddy, oh, no, that's not gonna happen. And then he's like, but what if it does? Can I have your hand? And I was like, can you have my hand? You want to hold my hand? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I can't. All right, I can't really do it because my fucking shoulder hurts. The reason why it hurts is because I reached back once to him and it hurt. So now I got to do the thing that, you know. But I'm like, fuck it, that's why it hurts, because I'm a dad, so that's all good. That's dad tax. So I'm like, all right, I'll try to do it. I'll hold his hand. I'm like, I can kind of do it, you know? And I'm like, buddy, I don't think Billy's going to throw up. He's only thrown up like 3 times in the car. And he's just like, but what if he does? And I said, well, you know what? You'll be able to handle it. And he goes, and he's like, yeah, but what if? I said, you're worrying about something that probably won't happen. It may happen, but it probably won't happen. And Daddy does that too. And then I go, man, I actually do that too. Like sometimes I'll just be up at night thinking about nothing. And I don't mean nothing. I mean the thought of nothing. Like when you die, what happens? And immediately I just feel just darkness consuming my eyes and mouth and chest and balls. And I'm just, oh my gosh, what does happen? Do we just stop? Is there heaven? Get out of here. Not for me. And then I get really sad. And I'm like, my brain works too hard. So I say to Calvin, I said, you know what, Calvin? This isn't a bad thing, but sometimes you're like Dad and your brain works too hard. And it's okay because it's kind of, in a way, it's just tricking you. It's making you think something that, because, you know, I have OCD and I have a fear that, you know, my kids will have it. And so I'm like, you don't have to actually let your brain trick you. Like, it's just working too hard. And that's okay because you know what? Say he does throw up. What's going to happen? He said, it's going to smell bad. And I said, yeah, and then what? And he said, I'm not going to like it. And I said, yeah, and that's what? That's what's going to happen. It's going to smell bad, but you're going to handle it, and you can handle it. So don't let your brain work too hard on worrying about something that probably isn't going to happen. And if it does happen, you're going to be able to what? And he says, I'm going to be able to handle it. And I'm driving back, and I'm like, oh, man. I'm fucking awesome. Why don't I say this kind of stuff with adults? You know, I'm just driving just like, how come I can't kick ass in conversations when I'm talking to a 40-year-old? And I feel good about myself. I mean, I'm thinking shit like, it's too bad Billy isn't old enough to hear this shit. This is good. I don't know if I'll be able to say it again. And so every 5 minutes on the way home, you know, it's like 40 minutes home, I hear Calvin says, oh, Dad, my brain's working too hard. And I'm just like, it's, you know, this beautiful thing where, like, I should take my own fucking advice. And, like, I don't need to be all fucking pissed off when I can't find the CVS, and then I get all mad, and I have just all things I've created in my head where it's like, oh man, my wife better wake up and take the Prolosec because that'll make it all worth it. And it's like, what? What, dude? Huh? And then I'm like, why didn't my dad tell me that shit? And I'm like, maybe he didn't really know. But I don't know. It's so awesome. But I was thinking on the way here, you know, about kids, going back to what I was talking about. It's like, it's so, yeah, you know what? I don't like this word. And one time when I was 22, my friend's mom said that something was wonderful. And I said, wonderful, huh? And she said, yeah, it's wonderful. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. And she said, you don't think it's wonderful? And I said, I don't know. I don't think really anything's wonderful. And then in that moment, I actually thought, I'm never using that fucking word anymore. And I didn't, dude, for years until it was absolutely necessary. And I only used it when it was like full of wonder, when something was full of like, huh? But I'm using it now, dude. It's just wonderful, man. It's wonderful having kids. It's wonderful. And the people that don't have them, that don't want to, good on you, you know? But I wonder what they would think if they knew what they were missing out on. I don't know. Some guys splurting women in dip. Some guys splurting women in dip. And I just can't even believe it. Like, people are like, oh, Dave Grohl's a piece of shit. I'm like, yeah, he's just raising 2 families now. What a nice guy. He still is the best, the best, the best. Dude, he still is. Fuck y'all. Fuck D'Elia. I swear, 4 years old is the most hilarious. It's like the things that they say. He says to me and Kristen, he says, would you guys ever call me stupid? And we were like, oh my God. I mean, I went immediately into, Calvin, hey. I mean, so did, you know, my wife, but I'm like, never, ever. I would never call you stupid. And my wife said, you don't have to worry. We will never, ever call you any names like that, any bad names, because you're not, and we don't think you are, and we won't say that. And then my son says, even fuck D'Elia? And I'm like, oh, that's where this was going from the jump? And also, what do you mean even? That's worse. Like, what? Were you sitting down with the mafia today? Like, how did you even fuck D'Elia? Oh, I mean, Krista was crying. You know what? I'm good at stopping that shit when I need to with my kid. I didn't laugh at all. I'm like, buddy, no, we wouldn't call you fuck D'Elia. You know, you're not supposed to really say that word.